And when they want out of it, when they want to see more clearly, they take flight in the spirit. And there they begin to see the underlying good that overrides the differences. But the final stage is they see why God is doing it this way, and they have extraordinary patience and love for all that are on the pathway. So there's a purpose to us understanding. When you meet people, don't jump to conclusions that they see what you see. They sometimes see it differently. So now to show you different places that these three show up, would you mind doing number 84?
Quote 84, "In the name of God, the most ancient, the most great. Indeed, the hearts of the sincere are consumed in the fire of separation. Where is the gleaming of the light of thy countenance, O beloved of the worlds? Those who are near unto thee have been abandoned in the darkness of desolation. Where is the shining of the morn of thy reunion, O desire of the worlds? The bodies of thy chosen ones lie quivering on distant sands. Where is the ocean of thy presence, O enchanter of the worlds?"
Here in the tablet, the fire tablet, we see these three identified. Now I'm going to kind of paraphrase it a little bit. The sincere feel like there's a big gulf between them and their Lord. It's kind of like God's way up there and I'm way down here. And it's kind of like, I wish I could see you more clearly. Why can't I see you more clearly? I want to see your face. I want to basically see more results right now. And they suffer because, and they're kind of like asking God, you know, why is it this way? Why are you so far away? Why are all these terrible things happening? Those that are near, they've had an experience, but it keeps fading away just when they need it. They've experienced the joy of the Spirit. They've had the fire in the heart, but they get sidetracked and they seem to lose it. They feel like they've been abandoned and they want to come back. Please, God, don't leave me out here. I want to return. I want reunion. Meaning you've already had the experience, but you want to return and have it again. And then finally, you notice it doesn't talk about what they see, the chosen ones. It's what we see when we witness a chosen one. Here is a body lying on a distant sand. Where's the ocean of thy presence? In other words, where are you? How did this happen? That's our question, but God knows that this is one of God's chosen vessels. We don't need to know how and what they did. God knows. And in our lives, we don't need to know what God's destiny for us is. We just need to trust and put ourselves in a position that He can use us so that indeed we do carry out His purpose. But every once in a while you get a glimpse of what's going on around you, and I suggest to you, very satisfying place to be. You feel like you're in paradise.
I'd just like to follow up with a question. You just mentioned, for example, that the near ones receive glimpses and then, have that glimpse taken away, which kind of...
No, it isn't taken away. They leave it.
They leave it, yes.
They get sidetracked into things. They become disoriented.
So I think that alludes to the mechanism, which is you don't just are in this one and then boom, you're in the next one. It's like kind of you can ebb and flow and ebb and flow.
Is constantly taking place. And I suggest to you that we visit some of these worlds on a short-term basis, just enough to know that they exist. So that just because someone lives in more or less a world of sincerity, every once in a while they get a flashing light of insight of spiritual reality. But they have a tendency to go back home. They visit. Some go there and pitch their tent and live there. But they glimpse every once in a while and go back to their roots of sincerity. And sometimes they journey to the higher realms and get a glimpse of paradise. So yes, you are right. It's not an absolute but there is one of these areas that we more generally reside in.
It's not a categorization like those people, those 14 million people are there and those 14 are there.
That's right.
But it's within every individual, you're frequenting each one. So what can you as an individual do to increase the frequency that you visit the higher planes?
Again, to act out of faith, not just knowledge, and act in trusting God when things don't seem to be clear, to be willing to go into the unknown with passion, with a trust that God is guiding you and that He will catch you. It's not about absolutes. When you do that enough, when you're out there and you hang yourself out for truth, for beauty, for understanding, if you're in the farthest reaches of the West, if you remember when we started out this course, and you breathe, you smell the fragrance of possibilities in the farthest reaches of the East, you would forthwith arise and go there. I've had that experience where I was living in Idaho. I was living in a beautiful home on a mountaintop, overlooking a lake with beautiful mountains in the background. And I got a whiff of spiritual guidance sitting in a New York hotel room that I was to leave that wondrous place and come to New Jersey. Now, anybody who's been to New Jersey knows that it's kind of the antithesis of a beautiful place on a mountaintop in Idaho. And actually, when I drove over to take a look at where I was being guided, felt I was being guided to move to New Jersey. I was blind at the time, but I could see shapes. As we were driving along, my friends were taking me to show me what New Jersey was like. Since I said, I am moving to New Jersey because I feel inspired of God, that's where I'm supposed to go. And as we drove, I said, I'm smelling, is that bakery I'm smelling? He said, no, Ray, that's pollution. And as we went along, I said, I see objects in the distance. I said, is that trees? No, Ray, those are oil derricks. And then they said to me, Ray, this is the ugliest place we've ever seen. I was driving along the highway around Elizabeth, New Jersey. Well, eventually we got to another place in New Jersey. It wasn't quite that bad where I was being guided to go. But I made a decision. I was blind. I had no job. I had a very small income from Social Security to move my wife and 5 children from out of Idaho and to move to this town called Teaneck, New Jersey. Now, any sane person wouldn't do this. Not under these conditions. It's totally impractical. But in my heart, I felt a fire of illumination to do it. So I came home. Well, first of all, I called my wife. I figured my wife might even divorce me over this one. I'm going to call her and tell her that she's going to have to leave her home, her beautiful, and move to some quote-unquote God-forsaken place called New Jersey. So I called my wife and I said, Joanne, I've had one of those experiences again. She usually says, oh no, not again. But this time she didn't. She says, oh yeah, well, what is it? Oh, she said, no, I've been expecting your call. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, this morning I got up and I said to Robin, who's our 17-year-old high school student, she said to her, let's just take a walk. It's such a beautiful morning. It's so beautiful out. And so she says, she started walking along the mountain, and we were looking down over all this, and I said, isn't it beautiful? It's like a postcard. And then she said, a feeling came over me. Say goodbye to this beautiful scene. It's time to move on. And I was just stunned by this feeling. And I shared it with Robin. Robin, we're going to have to leave this place. I called her that same day. And I said, Joanne, pack. We're moving to New Jersey. This happened on August the 3rd, 1981.